Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are welcome to the Discovery Show TDS TV here on Facebook and on YouTube. My name is Precious Adadidiodu, and I have been your host and ably supported by Mr. James Kwabena Opon, who is the executive producer. This is a show that seeks to interview professionals who are in the diaspora and beyond and making significant impact in the area of politics, religion, academia, and the likes. Basically, we seek to engage with them so that we can know their successes, their challenges, and then together we can rise. And so this is all about people. It's all about trying to help people to move forward in life, trying to ride on the shoulders of mighty men and women. And that is all this program is all about. So this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are watching us from, we are excited to be sitting with another very great woman who is making so much impact in her own area. We are privileged to be sitting with Dr. Mary Abboah-Offei, who is a researcher at the University of York here in the United Kingdom. You are welcome to the Discovery Show, Mary.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. Thanks so much for agreeing to sit with us. It's a rare privilege to have you. For the purposes of those who are watching us for the first time and those who know you but may not know you a bit more, just tell us a bit about yourself. Who's Mary? A bit about yourself.
Thank you. So I'm Mary Abboah-Offei, or previously known as Mary Atachi. And I was born in Ghana, specifically Accra. And I've also had the opportunity to start my basic education in Accra. That was in Burma camp. And then I moved to my hometown together with my family, that's Alakble in the Volta region, where I completed my basic education. And then I went on to have my secondary education at Keta Secondary School. That also in the Volta region, where I read science. And then from then on, I went to nursing training college at Kolebu, and then went on to do my master's at Queen Margaret University in Edinburgh, and then did my PhD at King's College London. I got married along the line, and that's why my name is now Abboah-Offei. So that's briefly a summary about myself.
Fantastic. That's been an exciting journey. Of course, a lot of people are watching you. I can see very great people watching. So here I can see Mike Kobi-Mensah. Mike, hope you are doing well. I can see Samuel Apia also watching. I can see Pipa Yecha. Sorry if I didn't get the pronunciation right. And I can see Hafiz Mustafa watching. I can see Evelyn. Evelyn, Cody, it's been a long time. I hope you are doing well, sister. Then I can see Tifirete Richard. Sorry if I didn't get the name right. And then many more people watching who we're going to acknowledge subsequently. So, of course, this is an abridged version of what you've gone through, but you want to expand it a bit more. Usually, like people will say, people see the glory, they do not see the story. Are you happy to share some of the very memorable challenges you had and successes which you want to share, merely to illustrate the point or to encourage people who are watching and not to boast? What would you like to share with people so that other people can be encouraged that it wasn't all rosy?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, like you said, the road to success sometimes seems like a straight road for some people. Others too, you have to walk through some rocky path eventually to get to where you want to come from. But my life philosophy has been that I am not in competition with anybody. And so I give myself time to get to where I want to be eventually. So as I mentioned, when I finished my basic education, I got admission to Keta Secondary School to read science. One of the first things I noticed at the time was I was the only person from my village in my class at the time. So a lot more people had come from, great schools in Accra, and then so sometimes listening to people's stories, oh, I came from this school, I came from that school, and then you know where you came from. And sometimes you tend to feel inferior, realistically speaking. And so some of these feelings, it's more or less like an internal battle that you have to go through every day, and sometimes you feel that you don't fit. But then at some point, I had to also encourage myself, like, despite the good schools that they may have come from, we all had admission to do science and we are all in the same class. So I finished my SSS. By then, even though I passed all my subjects, I didn't pass well enough to go straight to the university. And so I could have gone to maybe Polytechnic or other institutions to pursue some programs, definitely. But then it wouldn't have been something that I would have been passionate about. And so there was the need for me to better my grades if I wanted to do what exactly I had as my passion. So I moved from secondary school. I went to stay with my auntie at Abboah-Offei Estate, where I stayed home for about 2 years before progressing to the nursing training college. So within that 2 years, I had to do my remedial classes to be able to pass very well to go and do my nursing. But then during that waiting period, in fact, one of the best things that ever happened to me prior to completing my secondary education was being part of the Scripture Union, where I developed more as a Christian. Even though I have been a Christian, I mean, from infancy, I was baptized into a Catholic church. So I go to church every day, but then I didn't have a personal relationship with God. And so joining the Scripture Union and being able to go to the room of God boldly, individually by myself to speak to God was one of the positive things that happened to me whilst I was in the secondary school. So that continued when I went to stay in Sakumono, where I joined as Glory Assemblies of God Church. And I happened to also join the prayer warriors who were constantly praying at the church. So I joined them and got myself actively involved in church activities, as well as working through my remedial courses and being able to pass well. Whilst doing the remedials as well, there was an entrance exam I needed to write for nursing training college. So I went on to write that exams as well and passed. And then I went to nursing training college at Korle Bu. So whilst there, I mean, everything seemed to have worked well. And but then when I finished nursing training, you know, unlike the UK, where once you finish your nursing education, you straight away licensed to go and practice. In Ghana, you've had to write a licensure exam before you can practice as a nurse, despite having gone through the training. So I wrote my licensure exams, but unfortunately, I was also referred in one paper, which was public health. And so, you know, when it happens like that, although all of you are doing your clinical rotations, because of the way our uniform is structured, you know, when you're in year 3, you have these 3 stripes on your uniform. And then when you fully completed and you have passed your licensure, you have a full band. But then when you don't pass all your exams, then you've got to keep the 3 stripes on. So obviously everybody knows that, no, she didn't get all the exams and all that. So it was kind of a blow to me. But then one thing I've always said to myself, that failure is part of success. And for me, I never allow my failures to define who I am. And so it is okay to fail, but what is not okay is not to do anything about it. And so during the rotation period, I had to also study to go and rewrite my public health, which I did. And then by the grace of God, I passed and I started working at Korle Bu, which I worked for nearly 4 years after qualification. And then by the grace of God, I had opportunity to travel to the UK through my husband, who had then traveled here to come and study. So whilst in the UK, before then, I had sought so many opportunities to have gone through, to have done my degree in nursing, went to Cape Coast to write entrance exams, went to Legon to write exams, which most of them, even though they don't give you the result, but once you are not called, it means that you didn't do well or whatever the reason might be. So, but then I still didn't give up. And so eventually I had to register as a mature student and then go and write the entrance exam to go to Legon as a mature student. So I went to Workers College, attended classes, and so fortunately, unfortunately, I got to the UK when I had friends contacting me that, oh, we saw your name at School of Nursing, University of Ghana, blah, blah, blah. And at the time I thought to myself, oh, maybe I want to go back and go and do my degree in nursing then, but then I was already here. So going back was not an option. But then I had then put it to myself that, I mean, before I eventually go back to Ghana, I must as well attain a qualification that would have been higher than what I would have had when I was in Ghana. So eventually I had the opportunity to school here. And I must also say that there are times that you want to further your education and you would wish that somebody will sponsor you. And there are times that you can also work, save money, and sponsor yourself. So when those sponsorships don't come, it doesn't mean that your dreams will also come to an end. When you are working and you can save to support yourself, I think it is okay to do that as well. And I believe that when you do that, God rewards hard work. And sometimes we tend to think that when we are Christians, we should have things freely. Of course, we will have things freely, but it will come with hard work, because even in seeking God, he said, when you come to God, you must believe that he is. And not only that he is, but he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And seeking God itself is hard work. And so I have worked, and by the grace of God, I was also able to sponsor myself as an international student here to do my master's in nursing before I eventually went back to Ghana to contribute to nursing education in my country. I don't know if you want me to continue from there or you want to.
Wow, definitely we are going to expand the conversation. But one thing I've noticed is throughout your conversation, you keep mentioning God, the God factor. And of course, I mean, your story is just an example of coming from humble beginnings. I mean, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 9 to 13 says that for the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land, in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about, he instructed him, and he kept him as the apple of his eye. Even as an eagle stirreth up her nest, flattereth over her young. I mean, spreadeth abroad to lead them, taketh them, bury them. So the Lord alone lead him about, and there was no strange God with him. The verse 13 said that he made him to ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat of the increase of the fields, and that he might suck honey out of the rocks and oil out of the flinty rocks. In other words, where situations are even difficult, God will make a way for you. And I'm very encouraged by your story so far. And I want to encourage anyone who is watching that do not despise your humble beginnings, irrespective of the challenges you are going through. Be rest assured that God can take you through. I'm very encouraged by your story so far. Thank you so much for being very open with your story. I'm sure we are going to delve into that. I mean, about 4 or 5 days ago, I saw a post from you, and that's emanated from, after Euro 2020 finals between Italy and then England, of course. Everybody or a lot of people were expecting, those who are in the UK were expecting England to, unfortunately went the other way around. But what we want to highlight is the fallout from all these. We had about 3 players within the team, Bukayo, and then Saka. We had Sancho, Jadon Sancho, and then we also had, what's the name? Marcus Rashford. Receiving attacks of racism and all that. And I saw a post from you. It's of importance, but I just want to glean from you, being in the UK for some time. What do you say about racism? I don't want to limit you to what you have to say, but what generally you have to say about that? Have you encountered any at all?
Yes, I have encountered racism, and I remember when I first came to the UK, I lived in Scotland, specifically Edinburgh. There have been times that I go into a public transport and I am sitting in a chair. There are other seats by my side, but people would rather prefer to stand. It can mean anything else, but you see that as they are standing, when somebody else gets up from another seat, they sit down, but nobody will sit close by me. initially I didn't understand what that meant. So sometimes I went to the point of maybe asking the person, oh, there's a seat by me. But then the look that you receive then tells you that, oh, okay, he saw the seat, just that the person didn't want to sit there. What I want to say is it's rather unfortunate that we find ourselves in these situations. But sometimes I also feel that those who behave like that, it may be that they are ignorant, because at the end of the day, you don't have a choice who gives birth to you or what color you are born with. That is absolutely God's wisdom and God's decision. And so it's unfortunate that people will not criticize your abilities, but rather something that you have absolutely no power over to change. And so I think that living in this environment with these kind of situations, for us, we are adults, so we find ways to deal with it. But then we have children who are growing up, who will grow up into these kind of environments and will not be able to navigate some of these challenges. A child may go to school and may be discriminated against because of the color of their skin. And so what I think we can do proactively is to start consciously educating our children about racism and why it happens sometimes, and let our children know right from the word go that the color of their skin is unique, and that is how God created them to be. And so if anybody ever discriminates against them because of the color of their skin, it's because the person is ignorant. And if the person puts it to their face, they can ask the person to go to God and ask God why, because they don't have the answer. So that's my take on that.
Great, great. And I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. You just said that we need to teach our kids about racism issue so that they can, right from the onset. And I mean, one of my senior colleagues, I mean, Mr. Jordan Nyanya, I mean, he is of the gloriousscribe.com. You can just search for his blog, gloriousscribe.com. And just about 4 days ago, he wrote an article, which I've just posted in the Facebook page. So for those of us who are watching on Facebook, you can read that. And he titled it, "A Black Parent Tackling Racism." That had to do with a 4-year-old child going to school and a colleague telling him that if he is going to wash himself very well with water, he's going to turn white. That is clear-cut racism. And so it tells me that even at the level, at such a level, 4 years, we have racism ongoing. It's just like the topic of sex. We cannot be blind to that. We need to talk about that. So I'm just encouraging those of you who are out there, especially who are parents, who have kids and all that. This is unacceptable. We need to really teach our kids about these things so that right from the onset, they are able to tackle it. And day in and day out, we experience racism in different forms and shapes, and that is clearly unacceptable. So that is just by the way. I hope that, of course, this is going to travel for a long time, I mean, for long years, and it will never end. But of course, we can definitely reduce the magnitude of it. So thanks for sharing your opinions. Of course, I know you're a family woman and all that, and you spoke about your journey, being married and all that. How have you been able to combine academics with family life and all that? And then a subsequent question so that you're able to treat this together for us. I mean, many other people of the same similitude like you, they've used family as an excuse not to progress academically and professionally. But you've been able to combine all that. What has been the secret? What will you share with other people who are watching you and have the same, they are in the same situation?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it hasn't been an easy road combining family life with academia, but I have been blessed to have a husband who supports me very well. And so I quite remember before I started my PhD, I had a 10-month-old baby. And because of the way the PhD is structured here in the UK, the first year is very crucial, where you needed to have passed your upgrade. So you start as a PhD student, and then once you pass your upgrade, then you become a PhD candidate. And so if I had decided to bring my child here and to combine it with my studies, it would have been difficult. So in fact, that would have been one of the reasons why I may not have taken the opportunity to do my PhD. But each time I bring it up, my husband has been so supportive. And the question he keeps asking is, what about those who give birth and the parents die and it's only the child that survives? Those children still go on to do great things. So he was ready, together with his mom, to support me through this process. And so I had to leave my 10-month-old baby together with a 2-year-old girl as well, for my husband and his mother to take care of whilst I traveled to the UK to do my PhD. And it hasn't been easy. In fact, I felt very like I was being cruel to my child, because my mom did not do that to me. So to have seen myself doing that, it was very devastating. In fact, even whilst here, it's been hard, but because of the goal I had ahead of me, plus the support system that I had, it made it a bit easier. So anytime I think about the challenge of having left the kids at home and being here by myself, I have depended on God to see me through it. And I also know that whatever step I am taking today, it is also to give these children a bright future. So first of all, the Bible tells us that wives should submit to their husbands and the husband to love their wives. And for me and my husband, there has never been anything like a competition among us where he would say, maybe I want to do masters and I also want to do masters. No, it had just been that we understood each other to work as a team. And so whoever wins in the team is a win for the whole team. And so that has been how we have gone through it, through his support. Because after I successfully passed my upgrade and I came home after a year, my child could not even recognize me and would rather call my mother-in-law mommy. And then when he sees me, he runs away from me. It brought me to tears, but these are some of the challenges I've had to go through. But today I look back and I see that it was worth it. And when you totally depend on God and leave some of these challenges to him, he definitely sees us through it. Each time I come through any depressing moments or hardships throughout the journey, I have always found solace in worship. And so there has been songs that sometimes, like when I am listening to a particular song, I like just off the blue, and then somebody plays the song, I listen. Every worship song I have listened to have a particular meaning to things that I've gone through in life. So sometimes I listen and it just brings me to tears, but that is how far God has brought me. And I have never found myself telling my story or discussing my challenge with anybody else. It's always been between my husband and I, and God has always been our comfort and has seen us through the journey. So it is possible to still progress in academia, being a family person, but it has to be a teamwork between you and your spouse, because if that understanding is not there, no matter how you want to do it, there will always be conflict, because it will be like a competition or something you want to get at all costs when your husband is not in support of it. So it's always important that I see that being submissive, it makes your husband loving you automatic, because at the end of the day, I mean, you are obeying God. So in a way to obey God, you tend to have the things that you would not have had if you had it a different way. So let's take God seriously and let's develop that personal relationship with God. And when you have purpose in your heart to obey God, it will definitely manifest in so many other ways that as his word says, he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above what we think or even ask of him. And so with God's promises on our side this way, I think the only limit you can put on yourself will be how you have limited yourself. But God is limitless, and the way you see him, that is how he comes through for you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Viewers, You're welcome again to the Discovery Show TDS TV here on Facebook and on YouTube. This is a show that seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in the area of politics, religion, academia, and the likes. And this show is ably produced by Mr. James Kwabena-Opong, and I am your host, Precious Adadidudu. And this afternoon, this morning, this evening, wherever you are watching us from, we are sitting with Dr. Mary Abboah-Offei, who is a researcher at the University of York here in the UK. And so far, she shared amazingly beautiful and exciting journey so far with us. I have learned a lot so far. So we encourage you to drop your comments, like, share, and this stream so that other people can also benefit from that, and subscribe to our channel, of course, here on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you again, Mary, for sitting with us. So just tell us, you've spoken very beautifully about how you've been coordinating with your husband to ensure both of you are progressing. Let's talk a little bit about mentorship and women empowerment. Has there been such great role in your life? Have you been empowered by anyone? Do you think it is something of importance that we should place premium on? Do you think many women out there, I'm talking about women because you are women, but do you think a lot more need empowerment, and how should we go about it?
Yes, absolutely. We need empowerment and we need mentorship. I haven't really have anybody particularly mentoring me, but what I have done over the years is that I'm on Facebook and I am friends with a whole lot of people, including women. So people post things about their personal lives, people post things about struggles that they have gone through. So most of the time, what I have done over the years is read some of these stories of people and learn from it. And I bet you I have learned a great deal most of the time listening to people's stories, listening to especially motivational speakers, and also listening to people of the nursing profession who have gone through so many struggles, but have still been able to make it. And so from a distance, I have had people who have mentored me indirectly. And I think that it's important that when we find ourselves in such positions, we are able to identify people who may also will be going through the same struggles as we may have gone through. Sometimes it's not very clear for you to see some of these people. And so it's important that, like, through this platform, we put ourselves out there, and somebody may have been going through the same thing we have gone through, or even worse, who may need a word of encouragement or a word of advice or whatsoever. And so once we put ourselves out there and these people are able to make contact with us, it is up to us to take up the challenge and be able to mentor them, because sometimes people may think that, no, nobody has gone through what I'm going through right now, and see that as a reason for not progressing. But for all they know, if they had just had the opportunity to listen to somebody, they will know that someone had gone through even worse than that they are going through now, but they still were able to make it. So it's always important for us to share what we have gone through, as well as be open and available to people who will need support, and be willing to support them so that together we can make it. Because many a times we see people in positions of power or positions of influence who may not be willing to help only because they have struggled to be in those positions, and they expect everybody else to struggle to get there. But I believe if we go that way, then it will always be that it's only that one or two people who will always attain those such heights in life. But the fact that I have suffered is a reason for me to make the path easier for somebody else who is coming after me to have it a bit easier than I did. And so it's always important. And I believe that God places us in such positions to be of support to others who will need it. For every story, for every struggle you've gone through, I have always seen it as an opportunity that God is teaching me something. It is always important for me to learn the lesson I need to learn from every experience. And as I progress, when I find somebody who may also be going through that, then I'll be in a better position to advise the person.
Amazing, amazing. And that's why, viewers, we are encouraging you to share this live stream so that other people can also watch. For, someone just need a tip from what Mary has said so far to be able to make progress. And so please do us the honor by sharing, hitting the share link, subscribe, comment, like, and so, of course, subscribe to our page so that as soon as we start any feed, you'll be able to get the live notification. And this tells you clearly that this is not just about scholarships, schooling, and all that, but it's a multifaceted program that seeks to expose us to the experiences of people, the challenges, how they overcame them, so that together we can rise. This is a Discovery Show, TDS TV, here on Facebook and on YouTube. And I am your host, Precious Adadidiodu, ably supported by Mr. James Kwabena-Oppong. Thanks very much for sticking and staying with us here on the Discovery Show, TDS TV. So I can see quite a number of people watching. I can see Evans Diodu, my brother, watching. He says, I'm watching you live, Mr. Adidiodu. Very insightful story. Keep moving, bro. I can see Pipa Yecha watching. Kwabena Fosuhine. I can see Gilbert Fiame Dagbe watching. Frederick Mauli Agbemafo. I'm sorry if I didn't get the pronunciations right. Arin Bosman. So Frederick says, I'm here to watch you, Mary Abboah-Offei. Arin Bosman says, good tips for family and academic career. Let's write a review, dog. And Irene also says, of course, good tips for family and career, the same thing anyway. Agnes Abusa watching, Stephanie Salvador watching. I can see Tifireti Richard. Joel Dayanya. Joel says, thanks, Precious. Thanks, bro. And then Kokui Tamaklo watching as well. And some other people that I cannot see. Bashan Kennedy says, Eve Namisango, come and see Mary Abboah-Offei here. I think people that you may know. And then, of course, Mike Kobe Mensah. If I didn't mention your name, it's not intentional. It's only those who sent comments, or they made a comment, or people that I could see us watching. Sometimes you cannot see everyone. So forgive me if I didn't mention them. It's not intentional. Please drop your comments and I'll do well to read that for you. Nana Equia Debbie says, I'm learning a lot and I've gotten to know that I have a long way to go. Equia, definitely, you'll make it to the top. So, Mary, let's talk about nursing. You were a nurse. From your story, you practice in Ghana and here you're in the UK. I'm sorry we have to talk about this, but what do you think is the future of nursing in Ghana and Africa at large? From your experience and you staying here for some time, what have you learned and how can we improve nursing practice and healthcare in general in Ghana so that, of course, the whole population will be very safe in our hands?
So the future of nursing in Ghana, what I would say is all hope is not lost. Back in the days when I was practicing as a nurse in Ghana, it was good. The only challenge has been that at the time, I didn't see my superiors being supportive of us, the younger ones, wanting to progress academically. So what that means is if you are working and possibly you decide to say, those time, most of us were diploma holders as nurses. There were a few degrees holders amongst us as well. And you see an opportunity where you want to do your degree in nursing. It becomes a struggle in the sense that they are not willing to release you to go and study. And sometimes when you even decide to do it by yourself, so say, for example, you decide to go for a night duty and use the day to study and achieve your qualification as a degree nurse. There are times that when they get to know, your superiors get to know that this is what you are doing, then they make a conscious effort to frustrate your education or something like that. So if you're on a night duty, all of a sudden you may see that your duty has been changed to a day shift, and that becomes a struggle. And if it doesn't happen like that, and you manage to finish your degree in nursing, because they didn't release you to go and do your degree, they don't even recognize your qualification. I don't know if things have changed now, but it appears to me that there was that feeling that if I have spent, say, 10 or 15 years to become a nursing officer, which is usually the qualification after you have done your degree in nursing, they expect you to also spend that same number of years to attain that qualification, which I think that in a way, it does not help our profession because things are changing and there are current issues in nursing that are changing every now and then. And some of these things, it's unfortunate that we have to educate ourselves to know the current trends in nursing to be able to apply to our practice. But when we have superiors who don't support these cores, then it becomes a problem. Generally, I also find that mostly nurses as ourselves, I think we are our own enemies. I'm saying this comparing it to doctors in the sense that the Ghana Medical Association, they are a united force and they speak for their members. But I don't see that to be the case when I was practicing in Ghana. And so there is always that division. And so you see people at the top who hardly speak for the challenges that we face as a nurse in general. But once they are satisfied at the top there, then it's like if the fight has ended, which I think that if we have the opportunity, it needs to change. And we need to be a united force, because until we decide to fight for ourselves, nobody will do that for us. So the future of nursing in Ghana is so bright, but only if we are united, only if we are able to face the challenges that we have, address them to the appropriate quarters, and then seek for support actively, then we can move forward and to do great things as we see here in the UK.
Fantastic. Viewers, we continue to acknowledge your presence. I can see Amesika Adika watching, Felix Asari watching as well, Ivans Diodu. I can see Felicia Moore watching. Yeah, and then some few people, I think the other people have acknowledged them already. Yeah, so thanks for watching again. This is the Discovery Show TDS TV. Of course, if you haven't shared the link, please do so so that other people can watch as well. And please like, comment, and of course, we'll be able to read your comment for you. If you have any question regarding what we are talking about or anything beyond this, please drop your comment and we'll ask Mary. She'll be happy to respond to that. I mean, Mary, let's delve a bit into research before we go to postgraduate studies and scholarships and all that. I know one of your key research areas is HIV/AIDS. What is the situation of HIV/AIDS in Ghana? And then again, I know you did a publication on person-centered care for people living with HIV in Ghana. If you can just lump them together, what's the situation? What have you made any progress at all, specifically in Ghana? And how is the care going so far? Do you think policies are well adapted to these conditions so that people get the best of care they need?
Thank you. So at the moment, the adult HIV prevalence rate in Ghana is about 1.7%. And yes, so the study I conducted was...
Sorry, if you can break that down for our viewers who do not understand what you mean by prevalence, if you can break it down for us.
Okay, so I think you also need to help me here. Is it in the whole Ghana, the number of people who are HIV positive? So at the time, initially when the pandemic started back in the 80s, we were around 3.5%. So that's in 1,000 population, or is that how it's calculated? In fact,
yeah.
So from 3.5 in the 1980s, we have seen a remarkable change over the years. So at the moment, it's about 1.7%. And what that means is we still have people, quite a number of people living with HIV and AIDS. I think at the moment we have a little over 300,000 people living with HIV and AIDS in Ghana. And so WHO came up with this policy of setting a target that by the year 2020, they want to see about 90% of people living with HIV and AIDS know their HIV status. And then 90% of those who know their status will be put on treatment. And then 90% of those who have been put on treatment, they will be virally suppressed by the year 2020. So achieving viral suppression means that when you are you have HIV and you have been put on treatment, when you are virally suppressed, when we do the HIV test for you, we will not be able to see. So there are viral loads. We use viral loads in terms of calculating how virally suppressed you are. So we will not be able to see as much of the virus in you as it was when you were first tested as HIV positive. And so it happens that currently Ghana is not doing well in terms of the viral suppression. And I have also come across research that have been done which states that despite the treatment advances, so right now HIV is more or less like a chronic condition in the sense that people don't die from HIV that like they used to die of AIDS before. And so with the antiretroviral therapy that we have available, people can still live a normal life with HIV and even marry somebody who is not an HIV positive and still have children who are HIV negative. So my study was to be able to help, because with all the treatment that is going on, people still suffer social isolation, suffer stigma, suffer mental depression and the rest. So my study was to be able to develop an intervention that would identify some of these suffering that people go through despite the HIV treatment that they are on, and be able to have as normal life as possible. So for example, if I am HIV positive, it doesn't mean that I cannot marry and have HIV negative children. And so I conducted this study in Ghana where I used 2 HIV clinics in the community. I interviewed patients as well as healthcare professionals to understand their views about person-centered care and what matters most to them in terms of the care that they receive. And so based on the data I collected, I developed this intervention where there is a need for healthcare professionals to assess the needs of patients holistically, which means that they need to pay attention to their physical well-being, psychological well-being, spiritual well-being, and social well-being. And so if we are able to do that and also involving the patient in the care that we deliver to them, then we are able to meet their needs, because most of the time we see healthcare professionals giving orders where patients are just expected to just follow through with it. But there may be a situation going on with the patient that will prevent them from following those orders. But it's only when we involve the patient in the care that we deliver to them that we are able to identify some of these issues and support them to meet some of those needs. So I did a feasibility trial of this intervention, which have promising results. So at the moment, I'm working on getting a fellowship grant that I can use to test the effectiveness and the cost effectiveness of delivering the intervention. And once I'm able to do that, then we can be sure that this intervention is actually effective in meeting the person-centered needs of patients, as well as in terms of the cost required to deliver it, we are able to deliver it cost effectively. So I'm currently working on that. And once I get the funding, I'll be able to go through with this definitive trial to be able to determine that. And once that is done, then we can use that to, in terms of policy, advocate for policy in terms of adopting this intervention to be used in delivering care for people living with HIV and AIDS.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I mean, that's amazing. So would you then say, I mean, of course, you said the 1990 policy, Ghana is really not doing very well on the last 90, which has to do with the suppression of viral load. Does that have to do with lack of, I mean, medication, HIV medication, or adherence? Is a problem of patients not taking their medication? What really is the situation from research?
I think much has to do with adherence in the sense that the medication comes with several adverse effects. And some of these adverse effects are so bad that the patient wouldn't want to take the medication. But if we are able to engage them in the care that we deliver to them, like they having a say in what we plan for them in terms of their care, then we are able to understand the struggles they are having with this particular medication. Maybe there may be a way to switch it for a better one, or there may be another way that we can support them. Some, it may just be like a social isolation. The person is too depressed, maybe has given up on life, and so they don't want to take the medication anymore. But it's only when we have these conversations with the patient that we will really know what is the underlying cause of their non-adherence. Then we are able to support them to be able to take their medications appropriately.
Great. And that reminds me, in our previous episodes, I mean, one of the days we had a sit down with Dr. Jerry John Luto. And one of the things, he also has his interest in HIV. One of the things we spoke about was the fact that, I mean, some of the side effects of the medication sometimes are gastrointestinal. So people maybe have diarrhea or something. And if these people do not have places of convenience like toilets, then they will not even stick to it at all. So there are a lot of factors involved, even as we also, I mean, try to encourage people to take them. We also encourage our government, individuals, to also help people to get places of convenience and any other thing that can help people to adhere to their medication. So thank you very much. Viewers, we remind you again that you're watching the Discovery Show, TDS TV, here on Facebook and on YouTube. This is a show that seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in the area of politics, religion, academia, and the likes. And today we are privileged to be sitting with Dr. Mary Abboah-Offei, who is a researcher at the University of York here in the United Kingdom. And this show is ably produced by Mr. James Kwabena Opon. And I am your host, Precious Adadidu. Mary has been very generous and shared a whole lot of things. We've spoken about her life, we've spoken about racism, we've spoken about women empowerment and mentorship. We are talking about HIV in Ghana and how well we are doing as a country. I know you're also doing a research, or some of your current research. You're doing one in Ghana and one also in Kenya before we come to scholarships and all that. I know you're working on CHIPS compounds and all that. Are you able to touch briefly on both research in about 5 minutes for us so that we can delve into the other aspect?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm working on a research project funded by the Medical Research Council in the UK, where we are. So CHIPS is a household name in Ghana. So it's more or less like a community-based health planning services that brings healthcare to the doorsteps of people. This was an intervention that was implemented in rural areas in Ghana. And so at the moment, our project is focusing on adapting this intervention to the urban areas in Ghana. So there have been pilot studies about adapting this intervention to the urban areas. And there have been issues around the implementation approaches and the rest. So our project is trying to, we are trying to see how best we will be able to implement this intervention in the urban settings in Ghana, where we are involving some few CHIP zones within Accra to work with the members of the CHIP zone as well as the CHIPS team to understand what has been the challenges with the pilot projects that have been done already, and to see how best we'll be able to develop a prototype of an urban CHIPS per se, where it is feasible to implement within the urban settings in Ghana. And then,
so if I get you, I think basically the community-based health plan system, like the CHIPS compound,
yeah,
they are predominant in the rural areas. I mean, in Ghana. But your research is focused on trying to develop a similitude of that in the urban areas just to see how it will fit and
Yeah.
also to see how you can adapt that in the urban areas, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's brilliant, because I think there are a lot of even urban areas in Ghana that do not have proper healthcare system, and we are blind on that. We only think about the rural areas, so that is great. All right, please go ahead.
And then there's another project I'm working on in Nairobi where we are trying to develop a community of practice where we, most of the urban slums in Nairobi, they have daycare services. However, we want to have a community of practice where the daycare services that are being provided within these slums are up to the standard or near to the standard when we look at the nurturing care framework that has been proposed by the World Health Organization. So the plan will be to engage community health volunteers to be able to deliver this community of practice. And we want to be able to deliver this intervention because this community health volunteers, as the name goes, there is a volunteer program. And so there is no regular salary that is being paid to these people. So we are trying to see how best we can find ways to motivate them that irrespective of they not having a normal wage coming every month, they are able to be empowered so we train them to kind of go and train the daycare center providers in able to deliver quality daycare services to children in urban slums in Nairobi.
Trust you, me, Mary, you are making a lot of impact in your own area, and we are proud of you. Those of us who know you and those who know you, have known you for some time. I'm sure they are proud of you, as I can see from here. So thanks very much. Keep up with the good work you are doing. And trust me, your story and all that you are sharing with us is encouraging a whole lot of people behind the scenes. So thank you. Keep going. Do not lose that motivation, that drive. And I'm sure that you get to wherever you want to get to. Viewers, we are reminding you again that you are watching the Discovery Show TDS TV here on Facebook and on YouTube. This is a show that seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in the area of politics, religion, academia, business, healthcare, and the likes. And today we are privileged to be sitting with Dr. Mary Abboah-Offei, who is a researcher at the University of York here in the United Kingdom. And this show is ably produced by Mr. James Kwabena-Opon, and I am your regular host, Precious Adadidudu. I can see people watching. Frederick Mauli Agbemafo. So we are super proud of you, Mary Abboah-Offei. And I can see my own GSS teacher, Mr. Samuel Kwame Krantin, now a man of God. Teacher, God bless you. God bless you for all your help. Thank you. And he says, I'm proud of you, my boy. Keep it up. I'm also proud of you. Also, for God bless you. I can see Nyame Nemeboa for he says, very educative program. I can see, our own senior man, Yakubu Salih for Salid watching. Salid regards. I can see Evans Jody, my brother, also watching. Tifirite Richard says, he's watching as well. I can see Agnes Abusa watching. I can see Pipa Yecha. It says, thanks for the excellent talk on HIV. Ernestina Ofosukufuo is watching. And then I can also see Chris McKelly is watching as well. Eric Moore says, proud of you, dog. Felix Asari is watching. And Pipa Yecha says, good job, Mary. You are an inspiration to those who have traveled abroad to study. And now sharing an insight to your journey is so inspiring. Congratulations, sis. Amesika Adika is watching. Nana Ikuya Debi is watching as well. Kwabena Fosuhine is watching. Gilbert Fiamidagbe is watching. Irene Bosman. Stephanie Salvador is watching. And Joe Odanyaya is watching as well. And yeah, I think those are the people I can see for now. Bashan Kennedy is watching as well. All right. So if I didn't mention your name, sincere apologies. It's not intentional. All right, please let's delve a bit into postgraduate studies, scholarships. And of course, you told us how you got here. There was a point you funded yourself. And I'm glad you highlighted the fact that if you can afford it and you did not, probably if apply for scholarship and you didn't get it, and you think you can afford, it is important to make that investment. And you are a testimony to that. So that is one aspect. But what about other people who cannot afford and want to go the way of scholarships? Are you aware of any local and international scholarships you want to share with people? You may not delve much into it, but generally, and any tips you want to give to people already, you are done with your PhD, you might want to give tips to people who want to pursue master's, PhD here in the UK, because that's what you are familiar with. What do you want to share with us, in about 5 to 10 minutes?
Thank you. So scholarship-wise, there are several scholarship opportunities. In Ghana, we have the GET Fund, we have the Commonwealth Scholarship that you can access. Here in the UK as well, we have several institutions that advertise for scholarships every year. And for me, I've also had opportunity to be sponsored for my PhD. And personally, my scholarship, how I got it was more divine. And so there are times that when you are looking for money or scholarship to support you for your education, it's also important that you prepare yourself. So I'm saying this in the sense that if you know you need money to study and you know this study requires you to maybe write some exams, for example, here in the UK, if you're coming from Ghana to study, you need to write the International English Language Testing exams, which every university have a cap that they ask for. So you need to prepare yourself, get your English language test done. In terms of getting your transcripts and any other thing that you need to get them ready. So for example, when I first came to the UK, before I came, I had gotten all my transcripts and anything else that I will need in case I get opportunity to study. I wouldn't now say that I'm going back to Ghana to get all my other things that I will need that will support my application. So in as much as you look for the opportunities to study, it's important for you to also prepare yourself, because I've had the opportunity to have recommended somebody. So King's College London has a scholarship that they offer to African students. I think every year they have about 3 opportunities for African students to apply for scholarships. And I've had the opportunity to have recommended the scholarship to a friend who, but the first time there has been delays in the person getting their transcripts and the rest. So the person missed the deadline. And so on the second opportunity, I expected that all these challenges we had faced in the first place would have been dealt with. So the second opportunity came when I recommended it to this friend. Then there were such issues about delays in getting transcripts again. And then it tells you that, is the person really ready to take these opportunities or not? So it's very important for us to find out what is required for a particular scholarship, prepare and get your documents ready so that when the opportunity comes, you are ready to take them. So everybody's opportunity that you may get is different. Obviously, sponsoring a PhD is no mean a joke, because I mean, at the moment, to do a science program, we are talking about over £23,000 per year. And that does not, your living expenses does not even come. So it's a lot of money. So if you are looking for such money for somebody to sponsor you, you need to be equally ready so that when the opportunity comes, you can grab it and then run with it.
Amazing. I have always said that proper prior prayerful preparations prevent poor performance. Usually people are not prepared to embrace the opportunities that come their way. And I have said that, I mean, with what I've gone through for scholarship application, it's real work. But sometimes people think that you just wait a week or 2 to the time and then you put in an application. Obviously, that's not possible. Yeah. And people are also, I mean, sometimes they have people who are willing to even look through the applications for them, but they are not willing. They think the person should literally write everything and do everything for them, which may not be. So for those of us who are here and may want to pursue a scholarship or anything, please put in the work. It's a lot of work. Please put in the work. It's not easy for, a country to say that we are setting aside money about £14,000 per year for one person for masters, and then other monies for you as your stipend every month. or PhD, like Mary said, like 23,000 per year and all that. It is not a joke. So you need to prove it. So please put in the effort. And I'm sure those of you who want to get a scholarship, definitely God will favor you. Yakubu Salifu Sali says prospective students should familiarize themselves with each scholarship's aims and objectives. Start well ahead of time, ideally a year ahead. And Yakubu Salifu Salid is a lecturer here at the University of Lancaster in the United Kingdom. So, I mean, he has also gone through scholarship applications and all that. So take this very seriously. So yes, please do well to prepare in advance and get your documents ready and seek for help. One problem I've seen with us as a people is people either, I don't know whether it's an issue of pride or they see it as a sense of weakness. I don't know. People feel shy to reach out to people to help them. But really, for you to seek for help from someone, I think it is a sign of strength that this is something I cannot do and I need your help. There are a whole lot of people out there who are willing to help, but people do not reach out. So one of the reasons why we have brought this program is to expose you to people who could be of help. So please do your best and take advantage of all that. So this is a Discovery Show TDS TV here on Facebook and on YouTube. My name is Precious Adadidodo. I've been your regular host, ably supported by Mr. James Kwabena, and we are privileged to have spoken to Mary Abboah-Offei, PhD, who is a researcher at the University of York here in the United Kingdom. Mary has taken us through a whole lot, and we are so much happy to have her here. Is there any scholarship or any scholarships per se you want to mention to people to look out? If you are in Ghana, do you know of any local scholarship people could look out for? And outside here, I can mention Commonwealth Scholarship here and of course, institutional scholarships. What about you? Do you know of any you can share with people?
The only local one I know in Ghana is the Ghana Education Trust Fund. And with the Ghana Education Trust Fund, unfortunately, it's hard to tell when they are receiving applications or when they are not receiving applications. So this is to the Ghana Education Trust Fund, but this fund, I think, is meant for needy and brilliant students. And so it will really help us as a nation if we have a well-structured approach to when scholarships are announced and processes of how to go through getting the scholarship as well. That will help us a lot to be able to apply for these scholarships. And apart from that, if there is any other at the moment, maybe if you visit the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, they will also be able to advise you on other scholarships that will be available. And like you said, here in the UK, every institution has scholarships that they give every year. So you need to identify an institution that you think will support your dreams or your career goals, and then seek for those opportunities, pursue them. And I believe that with God on your side, you will definitely get an opportunity to come and study.
Amazing, amazing. And just let me throw in this, slide bits. Sometimes people are very fixated on UK, US, Canada, Australia, and they do not even look elsewhere. But we spoke to Jonathan Bayo, in our previous episode. He is almost completing his PhD in China. And I tell you, he's doing amazingly well. The infrastructure, the resources, everything you need. So I'm just encouraging people who are just fixated on UK, US, Canada, Australia, that there are a whole lot of other countries that are offering very good support for their studies, postgraduate studies. So please look elsewhere, apply as many as you can. And I'm sure, like Mary said, God will favor you. Yakubu Salifu Sali says, Get Fund, Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, GMPC, TALO, etc. Fantastic. Thank you, Salid. And of course, some of this depends on the area you are applying. I think GMPC, for example, wouldn't sponsor health-related programs, but maybe oil and gas and all that. So thanks very much, Salid. Emmanuel Frimpong, he's my GSS mate. He said, I'm learning a lot. Kudos to you guys. Thank you, Emmanuel. I can also see Samuel Obriebwa watching. Yeah, and then quite a number of people. Ekia Debi is one of my students back in Ghana. She says, I want to know if scholarships are only available for masters and PhD students. And also, can one get a scholarship to offer a degree outside Ghana? That is really difficult for undergrad studies. It's really, really difficult. I know rarely people have had scholarships to travel, but that is really difficult. Yeah, so that's what I would say. It's not common here. So Mary, I mean, I think we've just short our time about 5 minutes. We are so blessed to have you. I mean, we cannot quantify how much grateful we are. What are your final words? What do you have to tell people who are watching? And again, even before you come to that, is there anything on your heart you may want to talk about that I didn't ask that you want to share with people?
So I just want to say that sometimes I need to pinch myself to know my current position right now. The reason being that the God factor has been very much in my life, and there has been times that you need something and you need to know somebody who also knows somebody who also knows somebody before you are connected to help. But in my case, I wouldn't say all the opportunities I've had, I needed to know somebody. But all I did was to put in hard work and trust God. I have come to trust God so much so that I totally depend on God for every opportunity. But in doing so, I do my part. And I always say that God will not do by miracle what you need to do by responsibility. Mm-hmm. So it's always important for you to do your part. And like I said earlier on, God rewards hard work. So put in the hard work, trust in God, and he will come through for you. And that has been what has brought me this far, really, because I look back and I cannot really say that God hasn't been there every step of the way. And sometimes, like, when you see God as the God who can only provide your daily meal, then that is all he's going to be to you. But if you see him beyond that, because he's limitless, and so if you limit him as to what he can do for you, then that is up to you. And for me right now, I always tell myself that the sky is no longer the limit, because with God on my side and putting in the hard work, I will definitely achieve every height I want to achieve. Not because it's going to be me who will do it, but the God that I serve is going to be the one that is pushing it behind. And so most of the time, it seems to me like it's effortless because it has been God. So that is all I'll say. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what struck me is what you said. God will not do for you by miracle what you do. You need to do by responsibility. And I think that is one problem with those of us who really believe in God. Some of us, we usually want to shirk our responsibilities and think that God will literally come and do it for us. But for those of you who are watching and may be wondering why she keeps mentioning God and God and God, I mean, Bible says that who has believed our report and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed. If you have not experienced the blessings and the favor and the grace of God, you may not understand. But thanks very much, Mary, for sharing with us. We are so grateful that today you sat with us here on the Discovery Show TDS TV, and you've been able to open up, share with us your experiences, the challenges you've had, what you've gone through, how you balance your life, how God has been favorable to you, and your research. I mean, we are so amazed. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. And viewers, thanks again for watching. I can see Amesika Adika watching. My sister Eunice Amusan watching. Thanks very much, Big Sis, for watching. Nana Ekia Debi also watching. Joe Mokoko watching as well. I can see Pipa Yecha watching. Tifiri T. Richard, Samuel Kwame Cranton. That's my GSS pre-technical skills teacher. And he's now a man of God. Teacher, God bless you for all that you have done for us to push us this far. God richly bless you. Then my brother Felix Asari watching. Nyamene Meboa for watching. He says, I wish I knew about this information earlier. Thanks for the insight. God bless you too. Nyamene Meboa for, and God will be of help to you, my brother, as your name suggests. And Estina Ofusuku says, proud of you, Mary. Keep up the good work. Very insightful and encouragement from you. I can see Abednego Mensa, my mate watching. Abednego regards. Yakubu Salif for Salid, senior man. God bless you. Irene also says you can check out UNICAF, MasterCard, and Erasmus Mundus. So those are some of the other scholarships from Germany and all that. You can have a look at that. So thanks again, Irene, for also telling us. Emmanuel Frimpong watching. And then Samuel Obrieboa is watching as well. Wisdom Ativo says, great show, Precious. Thanks, bro. Pipa Yecha has a question. She says, he or she, sorry, I don't know if it's a male or female. She said, a question, in comparison to the UK, how far has Ghana gone in treating HIV?
I think that the issue of person-centered care is a cuts across, because when I was conducting my research, I initially tried to identify person-centered intervention that has already been developed and being delivered to patients globally. And I must say that the two studies that I came across, I think they are all from Africa, actually. And so the issue of person-centered care, it's a global issue. And so WHO also advocates for person-centered care delivery for people living with HIV and AIDS. And here in the UK, I'm not quite sure of the statistics, but I think that the aspect of patients having a say in their care, I think is something that they practice here more in the UK compared to Ghana. So in that sense, I may say that patients have more say in the care that they deliver to them compared to Ghana. But in terms of person-centered care, I think it's a global issue.
Okay, great. I couldn't have closed this show without mentioning my boss's name, Samuel Achim. Boss, how couldn't I have seen your name? Thank you very much for watching, bro. You've been of immense support. I can also see Young Bold watching, Faustina Ayungo Kwenote watching as well, Felicia Amwa, my sister, also watching as well, my sister Eunice Amusa watching as well, Brad Joe also watching as well. Yeah, great people watching. I mean, thanks so much. If I couldn't see your name, like I said, it's not intentional. I only need to see this person is watching or a comment before I could identify you. I cannot see everyone. So sincere apologies if I didn't mention your name. That's not intentional. But thanks very much for staying and sticking with us. Of course, Mrs. Achim, Dr. Sopukua Jumai, thanks for watching as well. Thanks for sticking and staying with us. We've overshot our time by about 30 minutes, but you are still here with us, and we genuinely appreciate that. Ophelia Aquatin watching as well. Thanks, Mary, for watching. Any final words? Final words for us.
So all I want to say is take advantage of this platform. There are several people who have been invited and continue to be invited to come and share their experiences with us. Get in touch with any of us if possible. We are happy to offer one advice or the other, and as well as support you as much as we possibly can to also attain your dreams. So this platform is there for our learning purposes. And so let's learn and let's continue to learn. And then in God's time, He will make all things beautiful.
Amazing. In God's time, He will make all things beautiful. And just before we go, I want to remind you, in case you want to design a website for anything at all, ranging from having a business, you want to design a website, to anything at all, contact Dr. Shadrach Dari. Dr. Shadrach Dari, he's amazing. He can design a very wonderful website for you at a very affordable cost. So please contact him at darishadrach@yahoo.com. I'll drop his email in the comment box. If you want to design a website for anything at all, contact Dr. Shadrach Dari, darishadrach@yahoo.com. I've just dropped his email there, and he'll be able to do a very wonderful work for you. So thanks, everyone. This is all time will allow us for today. Mary, we are very grateful. We look forward to sitting with you again sometime in the nearest future, and continue doing what you are doing, continue pressing on. I am personally encouraged by what you have said and all the things you've shared. And I look forward to also, following your steps and learning and picking a lot of the things you've said so that I can also progress. Thanks, everyone. If you are going through any challenge, if you think that you are not making a progress, remember what Mary said. She came from a humble beginning, and this is how far the Lord has brought her. And therefore, be encouraged that irrespective of your situation, God will come through for you. May the good Lord come through for you wherever you are, and may anything that is of your heart desire come to pass in the name of Jesus. Thanks, Mary, and God bless you for sitting with us. We cannot thank you enough. And viewers, thanks for sitting, thanks for watching, and we are genuinely grateful.